developments now with Mansour Shuman, who's a Palestinian journalist and humanitarian who witnessed the war in Rafah and Khan Yunis, joining us here on the set. Thank you, Mansour, for being with us. Let's start with the release of the director of Al-Shifa Hospital and several others, 55 Palestinians released by Israeli forces. We heard the director talk about the conditions that they were in these Israeli prisons and what they suffered. Obviously, this is not just a one-off incident. The conditions that these Palestinian prisoners are faced with in these Israeli prisons. What more can you tell us about this?
Definitely. There are thousands of more, like Dr. Mohammed Abu Salmiya, who had been detained in the wrongful way over the last few months. As you heard from Dr. Mohammed, they are going through very terrible conditions, both mentally and physically. They're not being fed the proper food or water. They're being tortured, and what they're going through is hell on earth right now. Similar to how the international governments and communities and organizations put pressure on the Israeli government to free Dr. Mohammed Abu Salmiya, we call upon them to also work towards freeing the thousands of other detainees that are in those detainment centers right now.
What is Israel's justification for arresting the director of Al-Shifa Hospital? He was arrested during a humanitarian mission with the UN staff that were in Gaza. How do they justify this arrest?
They haven't, I don't think they have released anything official in terms of a statement, but since his detainment in November, we haven't heard back from the Israeli government on why they do what they do to the medical staff, to the administrators, to the doctors, the nurses. I'm sure you've heard about the atrocities that they have done to hospitals in the north, the central and the southern regions. It seems that they've been given the green light to do whatever they want in Gaza, both to residential, commercial and medical facilities. I just want to point out that in the eyes of the Palestinians and the free people around the world, they all see Dr. Mohammed Abu Salmiya as a real hero on the ground. He could have left Al-Shifa Hospital a very long time ago and joined the many refugees in the south, but he was determined to stay in Al-Shifa Hospital and to continue direct the work there. And not only that, also as someone who I have been neighbors with and who lives 500 meters away from me, I know him personally, and I know that for a fact that he would like to return back on the top of his work as soon as possible. This shows you the determination and the resilience of the Palestinian people in general, especially their leadership and the people who are in authority.
Yeah. We talked about, with Hind, the attacks continuing across Gaza, and there's intense fighting right now in the Gaza city district of Shujaiya with civilians trapped there, reportedly. Israel has said it wants to destroy Hamas tunnels, which are still in Shujaiya. They say, although this is an area which they previously declared that they'd cleared completely, and now they're back. Can you tell us more about this district of Gaza City? It's significant. And, you know, the civilians who are trapped there, what sort of situation are they enduring right now?
Al-Shujaiya, the translation of it in Arabic, is the neighborhood of the brave people. So historically, Al-Shujaiya was always a place where people were resilient and people were able to remain strong and stay in their land despite any kind of offense against them historically. So I think that for many, many decades, that neighborhood has always been a place where the Israeli forces fear. And I'm also part of many WhatsApp groups, many of who have families and relatives in Shujaiya. They're saying that their civilian families are determined to stay on their land there. They do not want to leave. They believe that it is time for them to continue to stay where they are. They don't want to be forced to be refugees. And they've seen what happened to many thousands of others of people who left their lands and what happened to them. And they want to stay where they are. I think that's what the Israelis are trying to do. They're trying to drive the people out of the north. They're trying to push them to the south and to other areas, maybe because they want to control the north in the near future. I'm not sure. But it's been the same clip that we've all seen. Every time they withdraw from a residence or an area in north, they come back to it. Yeah. They've done that to Al-Shifa Hospital 3 times. They've done that to many neighborhoods in the north many times. And we're seeing it again happen to Al-Shujaiya, to our people there. So we hope that the international community will put pressure on the Israelis to stop this as soon as possible and to keep our civilians safe on the ground.
Mansour Shuman, thank you very much for talking to us about this.
Thank you.
Thank you.